Ladies and gentlemen, how do you do? We're back. I'm taking questions about boxing today. Bring it.
Hi Chris. Looking at your boxing record, you're an incredibly active fighter. Do you think that hindered you or helped you throughout your career?
It helped me because that's the way it's supposed to be. When I look at some of these fighters, and I'm going to actually go specifically to Conor Benn. If you've had 3 fights in 3 years, someone has ill-advised you. Mike Tyson had 15 fights in the first year of his career. In the second year, 14 fights. It was the 15th fight or the 30th fight that he had his first World Championship fight. I was fighting averagely 5 times a year as World Champion. 5 times a year. If you've had 3 fights in 3 years, you're not even the fighter you are supposed to be, which you will see as time goes on. So having 5 fights a year, not that it was normal, because there is nothing normal about boxing. It is insane to be fighting another man. However, this, what you call a sport, or what is called a sport, if you're going to do it, the idea is to go at it full face on. I did 8 fights in 1 year. The deal I did back in 1994 with Sky, the launch of what they refer to now as box office. When you're fighting 3, 4, 5 times a year, this increases your abilities while you have your age. When you get to your 30s, you are effectively in the twilight of your career. If you're taking breaks, you're listening to people who haven't done it. They're advising you to what is normal to them, and they're not boxers. That fear and that brilliance that you have to have while building yourself through that fear and competing against those who are the contenders, it's good.
Hi Chris, big fan. I just wondered if you could rank your all-time top 10 British fighters, and where would you rank yourself amongst them, considering you've got 17 successful world title defences?
Firstly, young man, you say 17. Actually, it is 19. Now you would say, well, oh, Mr. Eubank, but you had 2 draws. A draw, you keep your belt. It's considered a win. So my top 10 British fighters, I wouldn't say that I could give you 10. Kirkland Lang is moved on from this dimension. Okay, let me talk on Lennox Lewis. Here is an undisputed heavyweight former world boxing champion. What was really fascinating about Lennox Lewis is the fact that he was brilliant. From a ring craft, ring IQ, strength, the only thing he lacked was as follows. If he didn't take an opponent seriously, he had a fight against a guy called Hashim Rahman. Now, he wasn't in his class, but he stopped him just before the fight took place. I said, I think Lennox should do it in about 4 rounds. But if he doesn't do it in 4 rounds, it's not going to look good. You'll see that in the 5th round, he got knocked out. This was simply down to the fact that he didn't go to South Africa, let's say 2 weeks before the fight. He went like a week before and hadn't acclimatized to the altitude. I remember walking with him in Brighton before the rematch. I remember saying to him, you're talking to me about this Hashim Rahman as though like you're trying to remind me that you're a better fighter. Don't. I said, of course you are. In the rematch, it seemed to me, in my memory, that he hit him so hard that when his back hit the ground, he slid. That's how hard the shot was. It was a beautiful shot. An extraordinary fighter. I will give you the answer to whatever question you ask.
What was it like facing the likes of Nigel, Benn and Steve Collins, and do you ever have a fear of being hurt while you're in a boxing fight?
Fighting Nigel Benn was terrifying. Steve Collins, I didn't have any fear of getting hurt. I had a fear that I was going to be fighting someone who wouldn't feel my punches. Don't laugh at this, but it was said that when I talk, when he thinks about me talking, he's going to hear Donald Duck. As funny as that may seem to you, it got into my head. Apparently, every punch I would hit him with, he wouldn't feel any pain because he was under some type of trance. This was my interpretation. As ridiculous as this may sound to you now, I bought it. I was a very serious-minded fighter. Okay, so my mind went back to Michael Watson. How could he be that strong? Here is where the real confusion came in. When I calculated that Michael was not supposed to be anywhere near as strong as he was. I haven't prepared for Steve Collins like I should have prepared for Michael Watson. You know, I should be able to get past this particular man. But because I wasn't prepared for what he was said to be, which is this untouchable, impregnable, I wasn't ready for that. And that got into my head. So as ridiculous as it may sound to you, it's what spooked me. If you want to see a great movie, watch One Night in Mill Street, where they show the docu-film of, you know, what Steve went through to make his mind as impregnable as it was, which won him the fight.
Who was your toughest ever opponent?
You know, I'm going to be strategic. There's going to be feedback and comeback to what I'm going to say. I fought a fellow in my last 2 fights, Carl the Cat Thompson. These 2 fights were fights in which I was to be assassinated. What I mean by that is being punched to pieces to where I wouldn't be able or shouldn't be able to speak. One of the greatest moments of my career was in my last fight against this particular Carl Thompson. I was ahead on the judges' scorecards. In losing the fight, or in the referee stopping the fight, I should say, do I complain? There may have been a disappointment of which you'll see. But here's the thing about this last fight where I was to be assassinated. The camera followed me back to the changing rooms. When I got into the changing room, I'm supposed to have behind me my people. I'm the first one in. Behind me, a little boy runs in to the changing room and says, Chris, can I have an autograph? I said, just give me 1 minute. Come over here. Most people have been taught unconsciously to say, what are you doing in here? Get out. I lost a fight. Oh, man, just, you know, who brought him in here? I said, just 1 minute, kid. And I signed the autograph. That's probably one of the greatest moments of my career. You see, what I didn't know at the time was that there was a camera in the room. There's never a camera in the changing room. I suppose, and tell me what you think, I suppose that camera was there to see my response to the kid. If I would have rebuked the young boy, that would be on camera. Then they would say, oh, look at how he really is. My name is Christopher Livingston Eubank.
Hello, Chris. Do you ever hear from Louis Theroux anymore? Would there be any possibility of a follow-up?
Well, what a beautiful idea. Thank you for that. Louis Theroux. I so liked him. And I still do, but I haven't seen him in many years. Well, Louis, look. Mr. Theroux, I should say. If, by any chance, you'd like to actually interview me again over a few days, I would say yes. You were very likable. And we had a lot of fun. I'm so much more charismatic now. Hey, let me tell you what, if you thought I was good last time, wait till you see me now. I ain't playing. Well, you couldn't meet my wife. That's the only thing. She's far too shy. But if you can get her in camera, oh my goodness. If you think I have a good personality, which I do, I've got nothing on her.
Hi, Chris. In your opinion, who is the greatest defensive boxer of all time?
Floyd Mayweather is obviously number one. I can't think that there's anyone to even compare to him in terms of defensive skills. I'm going to pay respect to Harold Bomber Graham. He never became world champion, but I'm going to tell you, this man was incredible in terms of being able to evade shots. He was really, really something.
Do you like playing video games? And if you do, what game do you like playing? And on what format, what console?
Space Invaders. I remember maybe 1979, going into some place where they had all these machines. I actually ended up robbing it at one point. Hey, it is what it is. I was young. Now I know to teach, don't do that. Okay, sorry about that, but the truth is the truth. Okay, So Space Invaders, and I quite liked it. You'd have to blow up these little men before they got to the bottom. Interesting, but I was more interested in wisdom. And wisdom was going to be found by watching older people and listening to older people.
Hello, Chris. Ireland is a small island, but it has produced a lot of great fighters. Why do you think this is?
You have a spirit about you as a people, and it is legendary. The Celtic Warriors, one who beat me, and I'm going to be doing a video on him in this Call Chris Eubank. There will be an episode where I narrate over the entire fight. Out of the night, Invictus, out of the night, that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I've not winced, nor cried aloud, under the bludgeonings of chance. My head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds, but shall find me unafraid. For you see, it matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. For you see, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. That's to you, Ireland.
Hello, Mr. Eubank. How might one cultivate the self-assurance to embrace their true nature? Additionally, I would be intrigued to hear your reflections on the notion of legacy. How does one's legacy come to shape their existence? And in what manner might it be intricately woven into the fabric of their actions and relationships?
That's a beautiful question. Thank you for this. So this is about talking to, communicating with the spirit that lives within. It's keeping secret the communication between you and who lives within. That's how you cultivate the true nature of being able to elevate yourself from within. The outside is there trying to keep you weak. Legacy. Well, when you are born, you are custodian to your father's name. Custodian meaning that you're not supposed to shame him. I heard a story the other day of a fighter spitting in the face of another man. Like Will Smith, when he slapped Chris Rock, he didn't slap Chris Rock, he slapped himself. So when that fighter, when he spat in the face of a person, he spat in his own face, literally so, of which he will now continuously live with. This is shameful. Now, another point I should point your question to is my heartfelt attitude and feelings after I won the World Championship, of which you saw in the release of the Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank one fight, 18th of November 1990. The most important thing I've ever said, listen carefully, the most important thing I've ever said, you can hear in that interview, that post-fight interview, where I say, Dad, I love you, Dad. I did it, Dad. All right. Okay. All right. Okay.
Good evening, English. I wonder if you can tell us about any of the trinkets of deceit that you regret buying in your life. And also, it's great to see that you are still a dashing blade.
Dashing blade. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Do I have any regrets about trinkets that I may have bought? Absolutely not. I am grateful for everything that I bought.